Hello, I'm Anna from StartAbroad, here today to talk to you about some recent developments in the NHR tax regime in Portugal and proposed strategies out there for getting in under the NHR deadline. So if you're in the process of moving to Portugal or wondering what you can still do to qualify for the NHR, this video is for you. Some quick background first. What is the NHR and why is it changing? So NHR stands for non-habitual residency. It's a special tax regime in Portugal that up to now has allowed relocating expats to benefit greatly from special tax rules during their first 10 years living in the country. Just some of the benefits of NHR include no income tax on most foreign income sources, no wealth tax, only a 10% tax on foreign pensions, and even when you are making income sourced in Portugal, you only pay 20%, a flat rate, if you qualify as a high-value professional. So just to give you an example of what could happen under this tax regime, let's say if you were able to work remotely from Portugal for a foreign company based outside of Portugal, your work income might be taxed nowhere. You could make tax-free income for 10 years under the NHR, depending on your income sources and the amount. So, as you might imagine, the NHR has been a huge draw for many expats relocating to Portugal, and particularly for digital nomads and remote workers. However, on October 2nd, the Prime Minister of Portugal announced that his government plans to end the NHR in 2024. So, if you're in the process of moving to Portugal, the question most people have at this point is, can I still qualify? There is a lot of confusion on this topic. The government hasn't been very clear up till now about what exactly is going to change and when. So let's just lay out what we know before getting into speculation. We know that if you are already registered for the NHR by the time any changes are implemented, you're grandfathered in. If you are already registered for the NHR at this point, you get to enjoy all 10 years under this NHR regime. We also know that Parliament proposed a budget law earlier this month, in October 2023. Note that is proposed and not yet passed. However, in this proposed law, it said that if you qualify for the NHR by the end of the year, by December 31st, then you will be able to apply. We also know that in the same draft law, again, which may change, there was a proposal also to offer some significant tax benefits to those relocating to Portugal between 2024 and the end of 2026. So the proposal included is to offer those individuals a 50% deduction on taxable income for 5 years. This is rather than under the NHR's 10 years. And it's up to a maximum of 250,000 euro. Note that this could end up being restricted to only employment income. It's also possible that it specifically targets Portuguese nationals who are currently living abroad in an effort to get them to come back home. Okay, a couple of other things that we know that are just generally more important for people to think about when relocating to Portugal. First is to understand that Portugal has tax treaties with many countries. This includes the United States, it also includes Canada, and these tax treaties are designed specifically to avoid double taxation of income. So essentially, you will not be taxed twice on the same income or taxed by two countries on the same income between Portugal and any country with which it has a tax treaty. We also know that we're going to know a lot more about this budgetary law for 2024 by the end of November of this year. That is when we expect the law to be passed. Okay, so now let's talk about some more speculative ideas. What's not yet known, some theories or some ideas in the moment about how to sneak in under this NHR deadline that's looming at the end of the year. First, something that we feel pretty good about at StartAbroad. So typically the process is that you would have your SEF appointment, your immigration appointment in Portugal, and then you would register for the NHR. In terms of how long this process takes, it essentially means that you get your visa approved, you move to Portugal, you have your SEF appointment, you register for NHR. It can be several months, at least, after you get your visa approved that you would have this appointment with immigration. However, it looks like there is the opportunity to apply for NHR a bit earlier. So once your visa is approved, you'll either be given a SEF appointment or the SEF is changing into a new entity called AIMA. So you'll either be assigned an appointment or you can schedule one. It seems very likely that if you have your appointment scheduled before the end of this year, 2023, you will be able to apply for NHR. So if you can get your initial visa appointment as soon as possible in order to get approved by the end of the year and get that SEF AIMA appointment scheduled, that would be advisable. The next idea is what's called the expression of interest form. So this has been proposed as a way to change your tax residency before your visa is approved. To give some background on this legal route, the expression of interest form, it's been used now for people who are already in Portugal and want to continue to legally reside there. Generally, it's been taking about 2 years for these people who apply via the expression of interest to get a response at all from the government. And during that time, generally people are not allowed to leave Portugal unless it's for some kind of approved or usually work-related reason. So additionally, as part of the expression of interest form, you have to register some kind of work activity in Portugal, either a work contract or opening a business or some kind of freelancer activity. So it may be that you could file an expression of interest form in order to establish your tax residency in Portugal and then file the NHR. Simultaneously, you could be pursuing your residency via another type of visa like the D7 or the digital nomad visa. Then later, you could withdraw your expression of interest form in time for your immigration appointment in Portugal for your D7, digital nomad, whichever other type of visa. So kind of interesting, convoluted way about trying to get your NHR registration done before your visa is approved. Our general take on this is that it might work. It is also quite risky. The expression of interest form is not really intended for this purpose. Essentially, you'd be trying to game the system, but it might be worth the risk for some people. Our top takeaways from all of this information. The first thing is, if you want to maximize your chances of qualifying for the NHR, we do really recommend that you try to get your initial visa appointment as soon as possible. You essentially want to try to get that approval and therefore your SAF or AIMA appointment before the end of this calendar year, before December 31st. If you would like assistance with that, here at StartAbroad, we do offer D7 and digital nomad visa support, and would be happy to help you through that process. The second thing is that in order to get your visa, in order to get your D7 or your long-term digital nomad visa, also in order to have the registration of the expression of interest form, you will need an address in Portugal. For all of these reasons, it usually makes sense to have some kind of lease in Portugal for the visa. It requires a 12-month lease. If you do need help securing a 12-month lease as soon as possible before the end of this year, StartAbroad also provides that service, so please feel free to reach out to us. We'll include links for all these services in the description. And finally, if you've already applied for your visa, but you are waiting for your approval, please, once you get that approval coming in, look quickly to if you already have a SEF or an AIMA appointment assigned to you. This will be important. Hopefully that will come along with your approval. If it doesn't, you will need to make that appointment as soon as possible. And it should also be anticipated that the immigration department, whether we call it SEF or AIMA, they're going to be pretty overwhelmed with requests for appointments. So if you would like help with this, we can also assist. Feel free to reach out to us at info@startabroad.com if you would like help making your SEF appointment or AIMA appointment. Regardless of what makes sense to you, we can support you here at StartAbroad. We help Americans and Canadians with the D7 and digital nomad visas in Portugal. We also provide a full suite of relocation services, everything from rental searches to pet relocation to picking you up at the airport to a full concierge service that comes complete with bi-weekly coaching calls. And we make 2 promises to our clients. 1, we'll save you significantly on time, money, and headaches during your international move. And 2, we're in your corner the whole way. To learn more, check us out at www.startabroad.com and sign up for a free 15-minute consultation.